Welcome into M&S, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Matt, asking for a pay raise.
He's not going to get it, but we are going to talk about COTA. It's the shifter.
I don't have a shifter. We got to fix that.
All right, guys. So obviously, I have forgotten to mention our great sponsors the last couple weeks, Like and Ass. They don't pay us at all.
Yeah, we do it out of the kindness of our heart.
But they do repost our videos, or they did make us a nice logo. Speaking of nice logos that sometimes YouTube allows Will to put in the thumbnail, Brie Casso made us a nice logo. Go check out her art on her Instagram page, @BrieCasso, and maybe she'll make you a nice logo or something too if you're nice. Also, gotta talk about Milan's show. Mari is an introvert. I think there's a watch party this Friday on campus, and you might see us there. You never know.
Yeah, but that being said, enough of your jibber-jabbering.
Wait. Terrell reposted us, man.
My goodness.
I know.
Terrell, why do you do this? You make us talk about you on the show. Attention whore. Wow, that was really intense word.
Will, we got these. You know, you guys watch what you say.
Talk
people.
about Terrell.
All right, go check out his clothing brand at Grateful Studios. Already up to 10K followers on Instagram. Go check them out. Now we can get into the good stuff.
Now that Matt's done being a dang kiss up, let's talk about the race. So this past weekend, we were at COTA. We weren't at COTA. The Cup Series was at COTA. We weren't there. We were here. Well, I wasn't here. I was away. You were here.
I wasn't here.
No, you were. So COTA was this past weekend, and shocker, our first repeat winner of the year is William Byron.
For
a wonderful race.
For the third straight year, by the way, first time since, ironically, Jeff Gordon did it from 1997 to 1999 is the first repeat winner in a year.
But I will say, I'll go ahead and say this. Drove a magnificent race, but not the driver of the race. Not the driver of the race, in my opinion. I think we have a disagreement on
Kyle
the way about a
Busch
certain
agree
driver.
with you?
If Kyle Busch watched the replay before he went and talked to my driver of the race, maybe he would.
Oh,
But I don't know. He might have a hard time admitting that. I love Kyle Busch, but Anyway, okay.
We'll get into that.
Let's just recap the race. We're gonna start off with Cup because weirdly enough, I feel like Cup was almost, even though it was good, it was probably the least eventful.
Yeah, I mean, the Xfinity race was like an all-timer, and then the truck race was just great.
Yeah, and the Xfinity, we'll get to it, but major drama out of the Xfinity race. But that being said, let's get to Cup. So the overarching thing with this race, first off, there's a lot of conversation online. Reception is split in half. Was it a good race? Now, I will say this. Most people at the track say it was a great race. And to that I say, I kind of take it with a grain of salt because it's really hard to, if you're a NASCAR fan, it's really hard to not enjoy yourself at even a bad race. Like, I can imagine even the people at the 2013 Daytona 500.
No, man, wait till they go to Texas again later this
That's different.
later
Texas
this year.
doesn't count as a NASCAR race. Texas is an abomination.
Well, actually, no, it's a high-speed conga line. Put the white text. Give me the white text. I finally earned it.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's been a while. Okay.
Yeah, you earned it. Wait.
Yeah, I did that to myself.
Did you just make a Stained reference?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Let's talk about Aaron Lewis.
No, we're not going to talk about Aaron Lewis. What we are going to talk about, though, is, again, reception was split. Most people at the track say they enjoyed the race, and you kind of weigh what you think because some people say, oh, well, the broadcast is terrible. It doesn't do a good job of portraying what's actually happening on the track. That is true, but also, again, it's really hard to be at also such a great facility like COTA and not enjoy it.
You could say the broadcast had quite the kerfuffle this weekend.
Yeah, funny enough, in the thumbnail, the translucent word is probably kerfuffle.
Yeah, but yeah.
Into the mind of a creator.
I do like.
I wish my dog would shut up.
In the mind of Will. All right, so let's get into this race a little bit here. Obviously, William Byron just put an ass whooping on him. He started on the pole. Yeah. He ran away. There was lots of comers and goers in this race, though. Actually, you kind of had Ty Gibbs, William Byron, kind of stayed towards the front. But you had Tyler Reddick up there. And I think coming into this race, he was a lot of people's favorites. He was my pick to win this race. And even on the broadcast, they were like, watch Tyler Reddick. He's going to take the lead. Because in practice, he had the best race pace.
Yep.
But that's not what happened with that car. That car kind of ran up front and made a push for second, and then it kind of faded back to fifth or sixth and kind of just stayed there. I think it even fell back to seventh or eighth at one point. He did get a top 5 out of the day, but that was surprising. Another nice surprise, and I feel like we say this every time we come to COTA with these two drivers, Alex Bowman, Ross Chastain.
Absolutely.
Ross Chastain took the lead, led a good portion of the race. I thought we were going to get another watermelon smash because I didn't think they were going to be able to get around him. But William Byron, again, showing the strength of that car, able to get around him.
And you know what? I will say this. Talking about Ross Chastain, I just have this feeling because he finds himself at the front, even in these races, not saying that this weekend was necessarily an example, but even races where, maybe at the midpoint you're not sitting there going he's a contender, he somehow finds his way to the front. I feel like we're just on the verge of another major Ross Chastain breakthrough. I really do see multiple wins for that one car coming this year because the truth is, I know people think what they think about what happened at Daytona, and obviously the jokes flew his way because he's Ross Chastain. He's the most aggressive driver in the field, and he's garnered a bad reputation. But the truth is, every time I've watched him this year and got to kind of sit there and watch him even race around other people, I think this is the best version of Ross Chastain that we've got, even better than that 2022 breakout version of him.
Well, again, when him and William Byron battled for the lead, again, they aired actually a pretty cool segment on NASCAR on Fox where the drivers were talking about, like, who's the new Ryan Newman, who's the new hardest to pass, and everybody agreed it was Ross Chastain.
Absolutely.
And then 5 minutes later, we got to see this amazing battle for the lead between William Byron and him, and he was the only driver that could hold off William Byron. I think he did it for like 3 laps around COTA, which is like an eternity around that place.
Exactly. And Chastain also 100% could have junked William Byron going into one.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. 100% clean the
Yeah.
entire time with that battle. I do want to highlight Alex Bowman again because, again, we get to highlight Alex Bowman for good. Second straight top 5, first time since 2020. People are saying that's embarrassing. Dude, it's 2 straight top 5s in the Cup Series. It's a hard thing to do. I don't care what car you're in. But
also, I just have to say this because people, I get it with the numbers. It's confusing. This is not the 48 team. This is the 88 team.
And it's also the gutted 88 team because it's the team that was kind of gutted after the 14 season that Greg Ives brought in that wasn't quite as good as that Steve Letarte team. Again, Junior still had the great 2015 season that maybe should have ended in a championship. We'll talk about that eventually on this channel. But
and does Hendrick Motorsports still do like the 2 shops thing?
That's me and my dad were talking about that. I'm pretty sure Byron and Bowman are together and Larson and Chase are together.
Not what I would have thought, given the results.
But I could be wrong. Maybe, you could call me an idiot if you find out in between and editing.
I don't know, but
text.
I know like the big story, like when Junior was there, was him moving from the shop with Mark Martin to be in the one with Jack and Allison, Jimmy Johnson, and that was a large contributor. Like this is when the Letarte switch happened.
Yeah.
So I don't know if my point in saying that is Alex Bowman has the 4th best car at Hendrick Motorsports, and he is doing more than serviceable, and he will reemerge. It's just taking time, and he's shown it the last couple weeks. He's got it. I know COTA is historically a track that he's great at, but still, I just think he deserves a lot of recognition.
Highlight one more driver before we get to some more of the kerfuffles and the ending of this race here. I want to highlight Ty Gibbs again because I feel like we're doing this every week. Another top 5 run. Would have a humongous points lead if it wasn't for stage points, but right now he's second or third to Martin Truex Jr. who has the points lead right now. But
which Martin Truex, I feel like there haven't been that many races this year where I've actually sat there and said, really, aside from Phoenix, I haven't really felt like, Martin Truex Jr. is gonna win this thing.
We know I feel that way every race, but
well, that's neither here nor there.
But no, Martin Truex is just being very consistent running in that 5th to 10th area. But again, we saw that with Ryan Blaney all year last year, and then it emerged at the right time. Martin Truex peaked too early last year and had a horrible playoffs.
Ooh, that is true. You make a good point.
I thought maybe we were in for like a Dale Jr. 2009 season for Martin Truex. I kind of had that in the back of my head because you know how Junior's chase was so bad in 08, and then it led into 09 and then 10. So I'm happy when it doesn't seem that we're having that with Truex. But let's talk about how Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hating like drivers from overseas.
Yeah, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hates foreign people? ? That's a joke. Please don't sick your legal team on me.
He is wrecked Kamui Kobayashi. Said it right.
Ow. I mean, seriously, that's harder than Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah.
Oh, I said
ow.
it right. Oh my.
But also with whatever the hell I was saying. Kobayashi. I can't say it twice in a row. Has been wrecked by Ricky Stenhouse twice. He's ran 2 races. Also, what the hell, Josh Berry? There was no sense of wrecking him. You're 37th a lap down at COTA. You went a lap down at COTA, bud.
Yeah, and speaking of people driving in over their head, we have to talk about Corey LaJoie because when you talked about Tyler Reddick earlier, I almost interjected and talked about how there was another 2311 car that actually just never really had a chance to drive through the field. And yeah, look, you don't go into a road course race with Bubba Wallace thinking anything is going to happen, but
his weakness is left and rights.
His weaknesses are indeed, his weakness is right. He's good with left.
Yeah.
But also,
well, when you put him
steady
together.
Steady improvements on road courses. We talked about the clutch performance at Watkins Glen last year, but I just have to point out, because I don't know that it's been highlighted quite enough. Like, people have talked about LaJoie driving like an absolute dumbass on lap 1, cutting off Truex and eventually slamming into Bubba Wallace and knocking the toe out of that car. But Bubba with a broken toe, and then also later in the race,
he didn't have a broken toe. It was a broken toe link in his car.
No,
guys.
right. He didn't break his toe. He broke his toe.
I would be just devastated if Bubba Wallace broke his little pinky toe.
Me too.
I might cry.
Honestly, same. If anybody hurt my Pookie Bear, I'll rain hellfire.
I need a raise.
Another person I want to rain hellfire on is Brad Keselowski.
No. Let me take this one.
Okay.
Brad Keselowski on road courses
What the hell happened?
has been an abomination. In fact, I was in a stream the other day, and a quote was, Brad Keselowski on the modern-day Brad Keselowski on the road courses makes Dale Jr. look like Jeff Gordon on the road. And it does, because, God, it's awful. You could expect him to spin out about 3 times, but I actually have a point that might make this make a little sense. I think you do too, but my point's a little different. All the old guys struggle on the road courses now, besides Sonoma and Watkins Glen. And the only outlier in that is really kind of Martin Truex. Martin Truex still runs decent on the road courses. You'll get a good run out of Denny Hamlin every now and then on the road courses.
He did stay out to steal stage points in stage 2.
Yeah. And Christopher Bell did the same thing in stage 1, but he actually comes back later.
Yes, I will be talking about him next, actually.
But so with Denny Hamlin, you might get a good qualifying run and then some stage points, but you don't really get them battling for the win anymore. Joey Logano's pretty bad on the road courses now. Kevin Harvick was really bad before he retired. Brad Keselowski has just taken the bad to another level on these new road courses. It is almost embarrassingly bad that you could expect that 6 car to spin out 3 times in a race. It was kind of like when you were watching a race in 2010 or 2011 and you expected Andy Lawley and Kevin Conway to do it.
Yeah.
Or you know what? I can't even talk bad about Natalie Decker. Great run at Daytona in the Xfinity Series earlier this year, but God, you in the Truck Series was horrible. But again, Brad Keselowski, I think he needs to have some lessons with Boris Said, like the boys used to do back in the day, because this is getting bad. Getting to the Christopher Bell.
Well, and also before I get into Christopher Bell, I mean the greater point, my guess as to why we see the struggles here is, well, when you spend the first 10 to 15 years of your career running on these road courses, and the braking zones are a lot longer and a lot more intense, it has to be really hard to essentially relearn how to do the lefts and rights. You know what I mean? But that being said, I want to talk about Christopher Bell. I'll go ahead and get the drama out of the way, because I actually want to highlight his actual driving on the track. So Christopher Bell found himself in hot water after causing multiple accidents. Now, earlier on in the race, he turned Kyle Larson around, and to be honest, that one did seem like mostly his fault. I know Clint theorized on the broadcast that maybe Larson checked up and got out of the gas early. I don't think so. I think that Christopher Bell probably just got in a little too hot, jacked up the tire, sent him around. It happens, it's a gaffe, it's a mistake, and I think Christopher Bell would tell you the same thing. But obviously the big incident people are talking about with Christopher Bell is the one later in the race with Kyle Busch, where if you were to listen to the average NASCAR fan, they would tell you that Christopher Bell dove into turn 1 and just cleaned him out. Except that that's not at all what happened. And I just want to say, in Kyle Busch's shoes, I'd probably go up and do the exact same thing he did to Christopher Bell. Go up and give him a piece of his mind.
A mature Kyle Busch, though, because old Kyle Busch would have just tried to start a fight.
Absolutely he would. But I will say, I understand Kyle being angry. But look, upon viewing that accident multiple times, it seemed like a racing deal just going for the same piece of real estate. And to be honest, Christopher Bell's line seemed like the more normal one. I feel like Kyle Busch kind of cut down across his nose.
So drivers throughout the race, you were kind of taking that outward line into the corner like that. It wasn't like a traditional road course line throughout the race.
Right, but we're talking about road course racing. What do you do when someone's gaining on you down a front stretch? You take a defensive line. It's not Christopher Bell's responsibility to give Kyle Busch the preferred line and let him go. It's on Kyle Busch to take a defensive line and take Christopher's line away. he got him, and Kyle Busch came down.
Well, late in this race, we saw a great example of that with Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell. Ty Gibbs was being very defensive. There has been a debate online whether or not Ty Gibbs should have let him go because that's his team.
Not.
No, because what if William Byron blows a tire? We've seen that happen so many times in NASCAR. And then Ty Gibbs loses out on another possibility for his first win. So,
But that being said, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on Christopher Bell because I know last week I went out on the limb and said, I think Christopher Bell is the most talented driver in the sport. And I am going to stick by it.
Well, to stand on that point, we have to keep talking about Christopher Bell because we got to talk about the end of this race and the amazing charge by Christopher Bell in those 5-lap fresher tires.
Christopher Bell made up, 15 seconds?
Yeah.
Under green on William Byron, who, again, we talked about William Byron being incredibly fast. It's not like a situation where somebody who didn't belong in the lead got out there due to pit strategy. No, Byron was equally as strong as the top guys in this race all day and absolutely deserved the win. But Christopher Bell, give him not even just one more lap. Give him a couple more corners, and I think he's got him because he was on his bumper as they were getting ready to come across the line. Just wonderful driving job by Christopher Bell because also there is just so much room to make a mistake around any road course, but specifically Circuit of the Americas. So for Christopher Bell to stay locked in and make up that much time on a guy who was also putting down heaters, awesome drive from Christopher Bell. Only strengthened my view that he might just be the most talented driver in the sport. That is not to disrespect Kyle Larson or Tyler Reddick or Kyle Busch or Denny Hamlin or anybody else. That's just simply how good I think Christopher Bell is. And I'll say this too.
You didn't say that to Dane Smith, man. Dane Smith is very offended. First top 20, by the way, this season.
Good for Zane, you know. Yeah. Honestly, I know it seems like an obvious comparison because he's driving the 20 DeWalt car. Christopher Bell really does remind me a lot of Matt Kenseth.
Yeah.
Like so much so, especially given the fact that he's got the 2 largest margins of victory in the next-gen car. I mean, everyone knows the Matt Kenseth way of winning a race was by just demolishing the field, and Christopher Bell actually did the same thing. But I mean, it's just that cool demeanor, and even sort of like being like a little bit baby face. Like I feel like Kenseth was kind of like that for a long time. So
until 2015.
Well, until 2015. Then Kenseth took the gloves off. But no, I just want to.
Well, 14 actually, because Charlotte.
That is true. But I just wanted to highlight Christopher Bell because I really do think that he is probably the best driver in the field.
Also, we want to highlight one more guy here.
Oh, wait, my bad. Obvious name I left off of my list of other potential most talented drivers.
Carson Hocevar.
No, William Byron, actually.
Oh, my bad.
William Byron's also absolutely in this conversation.
He has won 2 of the last 3 road course races at Watkins Glen and Circuit of the Americas. Who finished second at the other one at the Roval to AJ Allmendinger? William Byron. Also, need to highlight AJ Allmendinger here. This deal for the 3rd Colleague car, because Shane Van Gisbergen is driving the other one on the road courses, was put together in the 9th hour for him to come drive, and he came home 6th.
Ooh, no, I'll wait to say what I have to say about Shane Van Gisbergen. Also, actually, no, I will say this first. Love Brett Griffin, but I mean, probably just the biggest clown take on Twitter I've seen in a while. And I mean, NRF is still on Twitter, so.
And Ultimate 23 Dragon. All my Roger Carruth fans get that one. God, that woman's racist.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
But sorry, Johnny.
It's sad that we both know that account.
Sorry, Johnny Bitson, that your name has to be associated with that because I think you're a good guy. Yeah. But I do want to highlight, I think both of our underdog of the race, Justin Haley.
It has to be Justin Haley, man.
Sadly, he got DNQ'd, but great run in the Rick Ware racing car. God, I cannot talk today. He was up as high as 8th at one point in this race, right behind Chase Elliott, who we'll get to later because he does have a arc in this race. But Justin Haley, great job. Wound up 17th. It's going to say last in the record books. Great job. My driver of the race is obviously William Byron. I think yours is...
Absolutely Christopher Bell.
And bonehead of the race?
Corey LaJoy.
Mine's Brad because I think it's just funny. You can argue Ricky Stenhouse. You can argue Josh Berry as well.
Yeah, but I mean, the truth... Well, I don't know, honestly. No. It's really tough because actually I think it probably should be Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah,
because also he wrecked himself in the process.
Yeah, and then he was involved in another incident. So
Ricky Stenhouse should maybe be really familiar with the old, learn how to wreck somebody else without wrecking yourself thing.
I think he laid in bed with that woman for a few years.
I'm so sorry, Ricky. She's so mean.
And
Anyway.
Please, legal team, because Danica will stick her legal team on you. Please, no.
Yeah.
But, all right. Anything else for Circuit Americas you want to highlight?
Well, unfortunately, yes, because I talked about the split reception of this race, right? Mm-hmm. And what do racing fans want? I saw this. This was heavily discussed the week of Phoenix on Door Bumper Clear, but talking about, like, what does a racing fan go into Circuit of the Americas expecting? Like, I know we've gotten, like, obviously the second year there, we had the insane finish and everything, but this was a good race. It was a good, solid race. It doesn't need to be a chaotic wreck fest. It doesn't need to be side by side to the line. Hell, it can be a little bit strung out at times and be a good race. There was plenty of strategy in this race, and also, like you talked about, we had comers and goers, and even the finish itself. If you're a racing fan and didn't find that finish to be good TV, are you a racing fan? Yes, you are, but are you? I don't get it, but I will say this. If there is one unfortunate thing about this race, it was an officiating decision. And that would be regarding track limits.
And we saw it in the Xfinity race, too. It took away somebody's second place finish, Shane Van Gisbergen's.
So, the most egregious thing I've seen in a while is a driver that Matt's going to talk about in a minute making a brilliant save and getting penalized for it because he went off track in the process. Nobody likes this, and some people will try and sit here and tell you, like, oh, well, you know, we may not like it, but it's just the way it is. No, put fucking grass down. That's the solution. There don't need to be these fucking arbitrary track limit penalties. Just put grass down like we had on racetracks forever. You will be better off for it as an officiating crew. The fans will be better off for it because, again, why? Like, why? Like, because Chase Elliott went off track not by his own. Like, it's not like he was cutting the course. He was saving the race car. It's not his fault that there's asphalt down there. That's your fault, Circuit of the Americas. That's your fault, NASCAR. So fix this, because we also, I mean, we talk about track limits, but we have guys that are damn below the rumble strips in certain corners. So, like,
I don't think they can change the track, though. NASCAR can't.
No, I know NASCAR
because F1 owns the track.
But NASCAR certainly can. And look, I actually haven't watched Action Sacramento this week, but I think the quote from Denny was common sense track limit penalties. Yeah, duh. Like, it's not like I'm the Chase Elliott homer here. I don't really care. But it is bullshit what happened to him, because Chase Elliott was also one of the fastest cars on the track. He was the fastest car on the track at the time the penalty happened.
Yeah, and he struggled for most of the race. I think he just finally figured it out. And I do want to talk about him here for a second, because there is kind of a bad narrative online that I've been seeing, especially, like, I'm stuck in this Chase Elliott fan club on Facebook, and I can't get out of it. Because I don't know how to get out of the fan club, because you know how Facebook fan clubs are. You don't want to be in those.
Nope.
But, you know, even his own fans have kind of turned on him. They're like, oh, William Byron wins every week. Larson wins every other week. Guys, the man broke his leg last year, and with a new car, people forget in 2022 he was the best driver in the next-gen car. That is not even arguable. He would have won the championship by almost as much as Jeff Gordon would have in 2007 if it wasn't for this, you know, chase format. By the way, guys, Jimmy Johnson won in 2007. It wasn't Jeff Gordon, but Jeff Gordon should have. Yeah. But that's a different tangent. But Chase Elliott was really good in this car. But with something new and you miss something, you kind of lose a step on these guys, even if it is 6 weeks. These are the best stock car drivers in the world, guys. He's not going to be able to come back. That 6 weeks is probably about a year and a half of time that he's going to have to gain back on these guys.
Yep.
And he hasn't been bad. By the way, he had the best average finish in the races that he ran last year, even though he did not win a race. And people are like, oh, he's not good on road courses anymore. Guys, he almost won a road course race last year.
Yep.
And he was in fifth when the track limit penalty happened. Also, as an athlete who has had an injury, some of you guys know about that with my heart stuff, it's very hard to come back. I've gotten to come back, but I've never been nearly as good as I was. But even with an injury that's just like a broken bone or something like that, it takes so much time to recover. So that year and a half, add another half year or a year onto that. We should be thinking 2.5 years before Chase Elliott is back to peak form. No, I don't think that's what's going to happen.
It reminds me of the discourse around Ronald Acuna Jr. when he came back in 2022, and people were like, oh my God, what happened to Ronald? Well, he tore his ACL. He was essentially playing on one leg.
That's what makes Dale Earnhardt's 2000 season so amazing.
How did he do it?
Because at 48, 49 years old, this man comes back from a broken neck surgery, by the way, that he drove with for a year and a half.
Yep.
And he almost wins the championship. Stuff like that doesn't happen to every athlete. That happens with the guy that you call the GOAT, which Dale Earnhardt is the GOAT of NASCAR.
Absolutely is.
But, guys, you need to pump the brakes on Chase Elliott. He's going to win multiple races this year. He's going to be in the championship conversation. He's 9th in points, guys. I know he only has one top 10 finish on the season, but he's ran in the top 5, top 10 in all these races. And if you keep doing that just like Ty Gibbs, you're going to win a race. You're going to win multiple races, just like his guy over there with Bubba Wallace. Eventually, the luck's going to go your way. You're going to start getting the results, and you're going to start winning races.
It's like the old adage is, you just got to find a way to get in the top 5. And once you are consistently in the top 5, the wins will just happen. That's just how it goes in racing. But that being said, we'll finally wrap up.
Wait. I've gotten worked up, man.
You know, I kind of sense it. You know, you need to calm the hell down. Honestly, get a grip. Oh my!
Hello, guys. It's that time. Come in.
Do what? Sorry.
You know the people don't like it when you talk during a moment with Matt. And this one's going to be kind of emotional, guys. I'm going to take a different take this week. I want to highlight a story because I've gotten a story that I haven't thought about since I was a kid. You know, we all did it as a kid. We watched fatal NASCAR crashes. And at the end of all those episodes, there was always one.
And then we grew up to make YouTube videos and read off of Wikipedia about them.
Yeah, you know what I'm about to highlight, aren't you? Yeah, but I'm going to do it better. All right. So come in for a second. Guys, there was always one at the end that always confused me. Because I was like, a death in 2009 in NASCAR. What? That didn't happen. The last one was 2001 with Dale Earnhardt. Or even if you were kind of a cultured NASCAR fan, 2001 with Blaze Alexander in the ARCA race. Or 2002 when Tony Roper's dad passed away, which a lot of people don't know about. But it actually wasn't from the crash. It was from a heart attack. But the first ever NASCAR Mexico Series champions who we are going to highlight today, Carlos Pardo. He also made a NASCAR start in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He finished 42nd due to a failure in the car for Frank Cecilia Racing. But he did get to run door-to-door with guys like Kevin Harvick, you know, back when we used to have those stacked, cool Mexico City races back in the mid-2000s, which I really wish we'd go back to Mexico City. Such a cool environment. But Boris Said was leading at the time, by the way, when he came out of the race. But this guy was the first NASCAR Mexico Series champion. He would go on to win several more races. And then in 2009, on which looked like, I don't remember the name of the track, but it looked like NASCAR Mexico City's almost like super speedway race. It was kind of crazy how they were all together. He makes a block on a guy who also made a start in NASCAR. Made a couple, got a top 10 at Watkins Glen. Jorge, I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to butcher it. It starts with a G, guys. And it turned him into one of the worst placed barriers in history. It just completely burst the car open. He would go on to pass away 45 minutes later. But his legacy lives on through his brother, Ruben Pardo, who also won several Mexico City races and made a couple NASCAR starts, most recently being in the 2015 Dave 200 at Phoenix with Carl Long, NBA Motorsports, who seems to be highlighted every single time with the moment with Matt. So I know these are supposed to be, these funny kind of things, but I think we should all remember the first ever NASCAR Mexico Series champion in history, because without him, we wouldn't have a Daniel Suarez, or even even a Juan Pablo Montoya, who was so accepted in the series. And that all came from that original Mexico Series crowd back in 2004. So everybody remember Mr. Pardo, and maybe go see what his brother's doing. As of last year, he was still racing in the series. I don't know if he is this year. But this has been A Moment with Matt. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Thank you.
If you're gifted a platform and you abuse it and you block people who call you out, you're the problem. But that being said, what wasn't a problem was the pretty awesome lower series stuff from COTA.
Well, we got to talk about some driver.
We do have to talk about driver moves, but I do want to touch on the truck race because it's probably been maybe the meme of this NASCAR season.
Marco Andretti's rear end housing dropping out.
Just gone. It was just kind of...
Dale, we mention him and Eric Eastep every week, I feel like. But Dale Earnhardt posted an album cover of Marco Andretti's thing dropping out. I thought it was really funny. But I'll go ahead and get into the truck race, so then we can do the driver swaps, so then we'll get into the Xfinity race, because that's going to take a minute. But so with...
It's pretty simple to me.
What the hell's wrong with you? But all right. So with the truck race, we saw Corey Heim. It was Heim time in COTA. Put up the white text.
I thought it was cool.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
But Corey Heim really showed his prowess in this race, and really towards the front of the field, he led a lot of it. But we also have to highlight, say his name, the guy who Junior signed or whatever. I can't say his name right.
Connor Zilisch.
Connor Zilisch, who won the pole at 17 years old at COTA, and
putting down the fastest NASCAR sanctioned lap there.
And then immediately had to come down pit road and faced all sorts of adversity throughout the day. Was almost down a lap at one point in 34th, but came back and finished 5th. Would have loved to see what he could have gotten to do with a clean race car. Him and Corey Heim could have had a great battle. But there was lots of good racing throughout this thing, especially in the mid-pack. Raja Caruth had a great comeback from his issues. And I really just think this race, you need to go watch it because you're going to be hearing the name Corey Heim and Connor Zilisch for a long time. This really shows their talent.
Buy Connor Zilisch stock while you can. Look, I don't know that this word has been mentioned on the show, but he kind of has, aura. No, am I wrong? You kind of...
Trying to sound like Dante here.
No, there are certain drivers that you look at and you go, yeah, no, that guy's a winner. I don't know. Ryan Blaney probably has, the most aura in the field is Denny Hamlin. It's not close at all. But, I mean, God, I love that guy so much.
But... we can't just go straight into this Xfinity race.
No, we can't because we actually have to talk about Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, we do. But before we do that, we got to talk about
the littler stuff.
A better driver. Ty Dillon. Guys, don't kill me. He's not. Ty Dillon's coming back to do some cup races with a colleague. He'll run 28th or 30th. Everybody will be bad, but he won't wreck the car. Guys, Ty Dillon, I think he's just I think he still has a passion for the sport, but, I think he has hurt confidence. Maybe if we could get a cool top 10 Ty Dillon run, maybe we can start seeing some better results out of him. But we need to get to the Xfinity announcement.
I am chomping at the bit to announce, welcome back, Matt DiBenedetto. Oh, he's getting a shot with Viking, is it Motorsports or Racing? It's Ryan Sieg Racing. That's what it is. This is a Ryan Sieg car, which, I mean, Sieg is, you said he tied for the last playoff
Yes,
spot?
but his cars, his other cars are notoriously normally bad.
Yeah,
besides
so,
his. This car's DNQ'd 2 times. That's why Matt DiBenedetto has this opportunity.
But I just want to say that I'm glad that he's getting a shot because if Matt DiBenedetto can do remotely what he did for Rackley, I mean, he's got to get back on the radar some way. You can think what you want about his opinions and what he thinks. I could not care less. The guy's a talented race car driver. He is the epitome of getting the most out of your equipment. Does he belong in one of the top cars in the sport? No, probably not. But we talked about it. The perfect destination for him would have been Colleague. You know what I mean? Or even I thought of a hypothetical, new entry for Trackhouse or another upstart team. He would just fit in perfect, and he will drag you to top 15s and top 10s. He will find himself in the top 5. He will find himself every now and then, depending on the car, contending for a win. Guys, he contended for wins in the Wood Brothers car.
Yeah.
Harrison Burton has talent. He does nothing in that car. That should at least show.
Well, he does something. He does his best.
Yeah, he spins out.
And he tried his best at that.
But that being said, the biggest driver headline is actually just speculation because Denny Hamlin made some interesting comments this past week. He seems to believe that 2311's equipment and their cars and their facilities is starting to get close to rivaling Joe Gibbs, and Denny Hamlin threw out the possibility that he might want to drive for his own team before the end of his career.
I don't hate it. I think it would be a lot of, kind of money going into the same hand type thing. But at the end of the day, I think it's actually better for Toyota if they can get that third charter because there is actually 2 top-tier NASCAR teams. I'm assuming RCR and 2311 looking for another charter because I feel like RCR wants to get Austin Hill up to the Cup Series.
Yeah, I don't know why, but...
Shut the hell up. But but with this, I think that with Truex's retirement coming up, having 2 seats at Joe Gibbs, when you have guys like Corey Heim in your pipeline and you have guys like John Hunter Nemechek stuck at Legacy that I think could make a good time, a good run. I can't talk today. Damn. At Joe Gibbs Racing, maybe that I call him William Sandwich. I can't say his last name. But he's their driver in the ARCA series. If you know, you know. But so sorry, I really butchered this segment. But
yes, he has.
I think it would be really good for Toyota to have those 2 seats open because that's the problem with Toyota. That's why guys like Eric Jones have gotten thrown out, and even Joey Logano because they just don't have enough seats.
That being said, though, we're kind of going to headline this episode with Xfinity because I feel like the biggest story, the biggest drama out of the weekend was from the Xfinity race, because I would say Austin Hill, just, I don't know, I would say, ran out of talent, but
Before you start talking bad about Austin Hill, let's get into the rest of the race.
I'm not talking bad about him, I'm just telling the truth, but...
Kyle Larson won this race. Amazing battle at the end. We'll get to that in a second. Some other storylines. Parker Kligerman won a stage. Another great run out of him. And then he got into an almost fight with Sage Karam at the end of the race.
Because Sage Karam's also an idiot.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Fox missed it. The
of course they did.
But, from everything that I hear, it does seem like that Sage Karam was in the wrong here. But Sage Karam was having a good run in his defense and not a good car. So another kind of like what Parker Kligerman's doing, who is...
Probably just overdriving the car.
Yeah, who I think is top 10 in Xfinity points again, by the way. But the end of this race, the main course, it was dominated by 2 colleague cars. AJ Allmendinger had a little incident with Ty Gibbs. They had their little tussle on the racetrack, but that didn't really amount to anything. It didn't carry over to Sunday. But with Shane Van Gisbergen dominating the race, and at the end of the race, Austin Hill found himself in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, that's typically how it goes, right? He just kind of finds himself there.
Well, it does.
He certainly didn't fucking drive there.
It does take some sort of talent to find yourself there.
Yeah, sure, it does. But, I mean, it's like a...
Stop talking about him. This is an okay man. He's a great driver.
Why? What makes him great?
He's good on short tracks.
He can win on a super speedway when there's, 3 other people in the field that know how to drive those places?
I mean, he's also been a championship contender the last 2 years. Cool.
It's the Xfinity Series. He's been there.
How many wins does Matt Benedetto have in the Xfinity Series? He drove a Gibbs car, didn't he? The guy that we were just talking about being very good?
Matt, I mean, you know better than anybody else. The Xfinity Series used to be a lot more difficult than it is now.
Oh,
Austin Hill is just a super speedway merchant, and you know that.
That's not true. What about his win at Vegas?
Who gives a shit?
What about the fact that he's finished top 5?
You're going to find wins if you stay in the series long enough.
What about the fact that he's finished top 5 in every single race except for one this year?
It's going to happen.
What about the fact that he's outputting Jesse Love by a hilarious amount?
All right, well, you want to talk about Jesse Love. Jesse Love has talent. He's young. Austin Hill's what, 37?
No, not at all. He's not even 30 yet.
Yeah, sure, allegedly, if that even is his real birthday. What are you talking about? What races are you watching? You like Austin Hill?
Do you even watch the... When was the last time you watched the
Xfinity race? You like Austin Hill?
No, I'm going to defend somebody who has talent, though.
Are you sitting here and saying you like Austin Hill?
He's not my favorite driver. I think he could be an ass sometimes, but he does have talent.
He's a fucking
He should be in the Cup Series.
He should be in the Cup Series. Are you nuts?
No, he should be in the Cup.
Why does he deserve to be in the Cup Series? What's he going to do?
Dillon.
No, he's not.
He's not.
How is he better than Austin Dillon? What has he done to show you that?
Austin Dillon could drive the same car and not win races in the Xfinity Series right now.
No.
Right now, I did not talk about young Austin Dillon.
No, Austin Dillon. Put him in that same car. He will win the championship.
How many races did Austin Dillon win in the last 2 years?
I don't know. I can't count. I'm bad at math. I have a disorder I learned this week.
You know what?
It's called dyscalculia.
I don't like your tone.
Well, I don't like your tone.
I think we need to settle this somewhere else.
You mean like on the track?
Yes. I know exactly how we're going to settle this.
What?
We're going to go to North Carolina, the racing capital of the country.
I don't know why we're going to North Carolina. There's many.
Shut up.
Okay.
North Carolina.
And by that I mean not okay. I hate you. Oh, that punch was real.
Yeah, we're great actors. Hit me.
Do you really want me to?
Yeah. Just like a little sissy hit. But
I feel really bad.
We're going to settle this on the racetrack.
That was outside of my character. But you know what isn't outside of my character? Kicking your ass on the racetrack.
Let me explain what we're going to do.
Now you keep grabbing my collar and making me feel some kind of way.
It's not a real punch because you didn't sell it. Sell it late. Very late. Ooh. Okay.
Now my hair probably looks silly, but that's okay.
We're going to go to the track house in North Carolina. 2 races.
Oh, yeah, the track house. You sound like an idiot.
The track house, Motorflex. 2 races, best average finish wins because we don't do none of that fastest lap sissy boy crap.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Unless we need a tiebreaker, then we're going to use the fastest lap.
Yeah,
and you know what? The loser's going to have to tell the audience here that the other one's just so much better than them.
Well, I ain't telling you shit. And the only thing I'm going to tell you is that Austin Hill sucks.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Dummy.
I hate you. But you know what? We're going to actually broadcast this for them next week.
We are?
Yeah. We're going to have
You really want to show them this?
Yeah.
Are you really willing to put your reputation on the line?
I am.
Are you really willing to go to such great lengths to defend Austin Hill's bitch ass?
Yeah, and if you keep cussing the Easter Bunnies, they're going to pay you a visit the next day.
Yeah,
we're
and the
racing on
joke
Saturday.
is, I don't watch the Xfinity Series. He might actually be good.
I know.
I don't really think so. I think he's okay. Like, I mean, I don't think he belongs in the Cup Series. I don't think he would do any better than Austin Dillon, but he's definitely not like a super speed.
Yeah, and I was definitely, I was slandering Austin
Like,
Dillon's
I mean,
name for the bid. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
I mean,
no, I mean, I'm really mad
No,
at you.
I'm really mad, and I hate Austin Hill.
Well, I
can
think we
quote
need to end this
statistics as well.
episode 'cause I'm
Well,
so
I do
mad.
Too. My gosh, yes, I agree. I'll see you this Saturday,
I'll see you this Saturday, but we got to
and we'll settle this.
We will, but we have to outro the freaking show.
Thanks for watching The Shifter. I've been Will.
And I'm Matt, and I hate this car.
Oh! Why I oughta?
You two need to put up or shut up. If you ain't first, you're last. Just remember, I'm thanking little baby Jesus at the end of the day.
I don't have a shifter. We gotta fix that.